Alright, what's going on, guys? It's Chef. Back here over in some more Modern Warfare 2. Still currently working on these battle rifles or whatever. It's actually not as bad with the fully auto and stuff. I expected it to be a lot worse, but it's not. I don't know, it's weird. I used it before, I know about it, but... So years and years ago, I'm trying to remember. So you guys might have seen this thing going around on YouTube. I mean, maybe a lot of people don't really care as much because it's kind of like a creator woe and stuff like that. Like, years ago, we've heard about this before. So back in 2014 is when I quit my, quote, regular job in the factory and stuff, and I remember during that time, it was either 2014, 2015, maybe even 2016, I can't remember, but we had this like little scare before. Basically, we were being told that YouTube is updating their guidelines and stuff like that, and you're not going to be allowed to curse. And at that time, it seemed kind of ridiculous and just hilarious. Like, no one really thought that it was real or anything like that. But one thing I'll explain with YouTube is that for the longest time, even since like 2015 or so, ever since they had the whole system where you can get like really demonetized and all that stuff, I don't know what year that was, every YouTuber and creator knew that if you cursed within like a certain amount of seconds, or at least enough, or cursed enough times within like the first minute or two, then you run a higher risk of getting demonetized. And so over time, YouTube has actually started updating this policy and making it a little bit more strict. Now, given everybody knows, I really don't usually censor my content very much. I censor it from time to time because, you know, I just kind of record and I just talk and it is what it is. I don't actively try to not curse a lot of the time. So either I'll like censor it at most, or I'll just put it in a way where those curse words don't land within the first, you know, few seconds or whatever. So now the way that YouTube works, you have this system where you go and put it up and you can either like monetize it or not monetize it. And whenever you choose to monetize it, it goes through this whole checking system. Whereas before it was pretty automatic, but it's not like I have a problem with the checks and stuff like that. It's just the checks are very, very inconsistent. I don't have a problem with getting checked. I get it. So now with this system of like going through and then having somebody check it, or a system check it or something, like specifically scrubbing for certain words or like a certain amount of blood or something. I don't know exactly how the whole system works. No one really does. And in a way, it does kind of help them because a lot of people try to like skirt the rules and stuff like that. I get it. Goalposts are being moved more and more often though. And I remember making a video when we initially heard about being able to get demonetized for even cursing in the first place. I remember making a video making fun of it where I censored myself. Literally, like, the intro of the video was me coming into my room, sitting down, looking dead in the camera, and just going... It was funny at the time. It was just a little video that I made, just kind of poking fun at the whole change. And now, you know, years later, yeah. For advertisers, I absolutely get it. If you want to make money off of it, absolutely. They're not saying you can't curse on the site, but can't be insanely egregious with it. I get it. But here's the thing. There's systems that sit there and explain, like, what's wrong with your video afterwards. Took a very long time for this to be the case. By the way, there's a whole thing that I'm skipping over where, like, the creators have to sit there and, like, try to get in contact and figure out why this thing got demonetized and what's the reason for it. I know that they're not going to like this, but I think that we should be allowed to review our reviewers. I think we should be allowed to know who reviewed our video. Literally just a name, even if it's a fake name. I just need it to be a consistent individual so we could actually put their track record together. Because I can almost guarantee you there are human reviewers over there that absolutely have different biases that will demonetize a video versus a different person that would choose not to demonetize that video. They can have a username, whatever it may be, I don't care. It could be PonyRider22, but I want to know if PonyRider22 is somebody that actively hands this shit out. And why do they hand it out more than the next person? Because I don't think that should be subject to change, because I think it needs to be a consistent thing. Consistency has always been a thing that we've tried to talk about, communication, everything, and it's just, it's abysmal. People talk about Twitch being bad and shit. Like, I'll be honest with you, man, I couldn't get in touch with YouTube right now if I tried my hardest. Now, I know people that know people, right? But I don't know anybody. That's how hands-off the, like, communication and everything is. I have just about as much communication with YouTube as I did when I initially started, before a team of communication even existed. Oh, platinum done. Now, when we back out here, I'm not going to move over to the weapons too quickly. I noticed that if I move over to the weapon too quickly, that's what gets rid of my class. And cool, there we go. We still have the attachments on, we're good. Now we do 300 Polycles. I saw that Critical made a video about this thing. And by the way, Critical actually invited me to be on his podcast like years ago. And I never replied to it because socially I'm just inept. It's just not my thing, especially podcasts and stuff like that. But I still watch him, you know what I mean? I watched that dude like years ago, well before any face reveal or anything. He was just nonchalant, deep voice dude that was just on YouTube making gaming videos. I saw his video talking about this monetization thing, and he was talking about how like all these people are getting demonetized and all this other stuff, and people are getting striked and all sorts of like crazy scary stuff. I don't have strikes on my channel. I don't usually break rules. I really don't try to go out of my shell. I use the same music I have used for like years consistently until something weird happens or whatever. I am a scared individual. When he said that like multiple people are getting hit with this thing and you'll notice like you should go back through your videos and look, I decided to go back and look, and holy fuck. That's a lot of yellow symbols. I would get a couple, you know, a month or whatever on average, you know what I mean? Like, I got used to it at this point, but obviously this isn't a whole like, oh, woe is me, I'm not making enough money, blah, blah, blah. Nah, it's just like, I'm good. Thanks to all the support I've gotten over the years, that's okay. Now they've put a system that basically tells you like the reasoning for it, and usually they would have a description for it. They really wouldn't go in depth. Before it was just, you know, green symbol, your video is good. Yellow symbol, I guess you did something wrong, but they wouldn't explain it to you. Now that they've been explaining it, it says that a lot of my videos are getting hit for incredibly strong language. And I'm like, oh, that just means that I'm saying like fuck and shit too much. But the descriptions don't even make sense. On one end, it'll tell me that I cursed within like whatever amount of seconds of the video when I didn't. And then other ones say that I like say an egregious amount of curse words when I'll sit there and count and I said shit 3 times. And that's egregious? That is excessive? So why is it that in the next video where I said fuck 20 times in it, it didn't get hit though? It's just a very inconsistent thing. I'm not there to fight with it because they do have a review process and everything, but when it says reviewed by a human, I don't believe you. You need to have a consistent name or a consistent like alias or whatever that they operate under on YouTube. And those people need to be able to have a recorded track record of their history of what they do to people's videos. If I'm not lining up with the rules and shit, I get it. Hit me. I get it. Don't make me like confused as to what I can and can't do. Just make it a very clear thing. I'm not dealing with a chopper gunner. I've started backing out of games again. Like, I'm using weapons that I never want to use, like never touch. Not playing into people that are using their Vaz Nevs and 74Us and shit, jumping around corners while my weapons mobility at the best it could be tuned is absolute dog shit. I'd rather have a shitty 80 kills than a good 40. Oh, I've made good progress on that randomizer yesterday too. Some people actually did want me to make a series on it because they don't want as much MW2, but I still am trying to make progress on it as an individual. So as a gamer, I'm recording all sorts of parts, all the bosses and shit that I'm fighting for the most part. Hopefully there's no weird audio issues. That'd be really annoying. If that's the case, if I end up losing all of this stuff or it turns out in the way that I don't want it to, yeah, I'm just gonna do it the old-fashioned way. I'll just make multiple parts on the randomizer. I don't give a shit. I'm not even gonna name it part whatever. It's just more Elden Ring videos. Not to mention, some reviews are like really weird. Like whenever they say that they're checking or whatever, sometimes it seems like they're checking the video just for the first, you know, minute or two or whatever for like curse words or something. That's what I assume. Because sometimes I would sit there and, you know, it would be like, oh, checking to see if your video could be monetized. And I'll be like, okay, they'll probably, you know, have to take, you know, 8 to, you know, 15 minutes, however long, you know, the video is, whatever. And then they end up saying that it's good within the first, you know, 2 minutes. It's like somebody being the first person to comment on the video and being like, amazing video, dude. But you know for a fact they mathematically could not have watched the video, nor do they know if it's a good video or not. That's where I end up with the impression that maybe they're not human and they're just saying that they're human. I feel like whenever you review it, it could just be not human and just, you know, sent through the system all over again. And even though they're supposed to be trying to follow those rule sets, and if you break any of them, they're supposed to hit you, like, just let me know, you know what I mean? There are some videos where I feel like, yeah, this is probably demonetized, and then it doesn't get demonetized. It's just, it's very confusing. But basically, bottom line is, they seem to be getting a little bit more strict and tighter with their words. Like before, I swear shit was completely fine. Now they want you to be able to only say like hell and damn and you're good. It's not like you're not allowed to say it at all, but saying it quote too much, which is undefined, or saying it too early in the video, which is somewhat sometimes defined within the first 8 seconds. Sometimes it says within the first 2 minutes. Like if they told me one time you cursed within the first 8 seconds, that's why you got hit. And then you go and make another video where you don't curse in that first 8 seconds, but then they hit you again and say that now you cursed within the first 45 seconds. Why don't you just tell me, set a like a threshold of like how many fucks can I put in a minute? I'm not necessarily planning on changing my, you know, content or anything like that. I just have had a potty mouth for the majority of my life. Growing up on the internet and all that other shit as well, with how everybody tends to not talk to each other in a serious manner the majority of the time on the internet. No one is serious. I didn't take my speech very seriously. So it's pretty difficult for me to like not curse sometimes. I don't even notice. I don't think about it. Well, other than me actively trying to like not curse, I'm not really changing anything. Anyway, yeah, I'm probably gonna spend the rest of the day just, you know, doing the typical stuff that I have been doing, you know, finishing these out. Man, it is so hard though. I get so bored. With the randomizer playthrough being there, I play like maybe a couple hours now on this game, and then I'll just like switch to Elden Ring. I got about halfway through this grind and I'm just, it's crazy that I did that whole obsidian thing, really. Like, it is so many more kills than this as well. It's kind of the same in terms of you just needing to get a bunch of kills, but I'm pretty sure you need to get like 2 or 3 times more kills for obsidian for every single weapon on that game. Whatever, who cares? Anyway, thank you guys so much for all the love and support, and yeah, it's been Jeff, guys. Later.